Dick cartoon itself, which was very provocative and aroused a whole lot of issues amongst a segment of the community. I mean, and the people that I've engaged with have these things to say, and I want your reaction to them. Are you culturally insensitive? Are you being racist? And are you suffering from a syndrome of some sort?
I don't go out of my way in cartoons to offend gratuitously. Some people might find that an outrageous statement, but I don't. I think a lot of cartoonists, myself included, those of us who are prepared to push things far, have the general sense that we'll push things with religious or cultural groups or political groups, or political groups who are using culture and religion and in a populist way to whip up frenzies. We will push those buttons if there are people who are being homophobic, who are being misogynist, who are being who are opposing reproductive rights or are hiding corruption. And Jacob Zuma has presented himself as a sexual being, very, very sexual, as somebody who can have as many wives as he wants, and on the side, outside of the norms that he sets for himself, as a traditional Zulu person, Zulu male, he has women and children out of wedlock and all of those things. He did that. We didn't do that. Brett Murray didn't do that. That's Jacob Zuma. That's his presentation to the world and to South Africa. And he almost presents himself as a phallic figure. And Brett Murray, Brett Murray picked up on that. I had already as well in other things. The latest one, the Little Limerick, was one that, as I said, I don't think that was as considered as I usually am. And the problem was, I feel that the nuances and subtexts of the thing were missing. The subtext that I have in most of my other work.
If you're a public figure, what I would have done if I'd been Zuma and the ANC, I would have completely ignored the Brett Murray thing. Nobody would have noticed. I personally don't think it's a particularly good painting. I mean, unlike Zapiro, I just thought it's a Leninist depiction and it's a penis, and I'm so bored with penises. But get over it. But and particularly a person in power like Zuma, he should know that when you're up there, as Black Maharaj should know, as everyone up there should know, you're going to be up for scrutiny. You've got to have a tough skin. You've got to go with the punches. And in order to do, I mean, and in this sort of situation now, we've had Ayanda doing stuff, Zapiro, Brett Murray, etc. Just ignore it and move on with the business of service delivery.
Let's get the elephant out of the room. You know? I don't know whether you prefer us bringing it into the room, but let's bear in mind that we have a constitution with section 16, which insists on freedom of expression. Now, is it true that with our constitution, the media is under threat?
Look, on the one hand, we've got our constitution, which is fantastic. On the other hand, we have a ruling party who keeps encroaching on the space of freedom, of expression, you know, interfering with journalists. We've had the secrecy bill, and now they've made amendments, but there's nothing in writing yet, so we don't know for sure. That's a big threat. That's a media under siege. And, you know, there are all kinds of impinges of freedom that are happening. I certainly don't. Anarchy is absolute freedom, and I don't believe in anarchy. I don't believe in hate speech, and I don't believe in racist speech. And I don't believe Zapiro has ever done that. And I believe it's outrageous that the presidency and Zuma is going to trial on this issue of the Lady Justice cartoon, which took place in 2008. And I think the sum of money is 4 million, was it 5 million, for defamation and harm to dignity.
Right, the cartoon, I mean, people are familiar with the cartoon. There's a number of people holding down the figure of Lady Justice, and it is labeled Justice. She's labeled Justice System. So clearly, and he's unbuckling his belt. So one of the things that I always say is, that is a cartoon, caricatures of real people interacting with an allegorical or symbolic figure. So clearly, it is a metaphor. It's a metaphor. It's not literal. It's not about his rape case for which he was acquitted. It's about whether he and the people in the cartoon with him were bullying and threatening the justice system in order for him to become president. If you look in the dictionary, rape of justice is one of the meanings of, when you see the word rape, the abuse of a system is called a rape of that system in many dictionaries, most dictionaries. So anyway, those are some of the dynamics. And in the actual court case, they've tried to find ways to pull out, but they want a retraction or an apology, which obviously we won't do. We know that if we go to court, we'll win. And we also know that if they pull out now and pay all our legal costs with no strings attached, they'll also lose face. So I think they've put themselves in a bit of a hole. I'm very confident about the case.
It's a very thin line that one balances, setting up that opening enough anger or discomfort in the viewer to get them irate enough to still communicate with the image and not automatically close down and switch down. I think the role of artists is imperative to be a kind of a seismograph in society. I wish to communicate and open dialogue and create anger, that's fine. I don't know if somebody, as long as there's not indifference. The fight is against indifference.